Good evening. Thank you so much for joining me virtually tonight for the 2021 State of our City. This is also the prelude to Game 2 of the World Series, so I clearly understand what I'm dealing with tonight. So my goal is to get in and get out and go Braves. The state of our city is resilient. We are still here. I thank God for his providence, for his protection, for his grace, for his favor during the roughest times in our recent history. The fact is, we've endured, we've struggled, we were challenged, we lost. Some of us lost big time, but we're still here. Despite unprecedented challenges we continue to face this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the city continues to achieve some major milestones to advance equity, inclusion, sustainability, and quality of life for our residents. The release of 3 COVID-19 vaccines early this year and widespread access for Georgians in the spring gave us our best shot at getting to our new normal. The City of Savannah has partnered with local healthcare providers and businesses to improve vaccine access by hosting clinics at city facilities, including the Savannah Civic Center and the Savannah Fire Department headquarters. City staff who worked remotely through the beginning of the year returned to their offices in May. In June, Dr. Kathleen Toomey, Commissioner of the Georgia Department of Public Health, visited Savannah to encourage vaccination. In July, First Lady Dr. Jill Biden and Senator Raphael Warnock visited a vaccination site with me at Beach High School. The emergence of the Delta variant in late summer caused the biggest spike in cases, hospitalizations, and community transmission in Chatham County since the start of the pandemic. With the council's unanimous support, I reinstituted mask requirements, reduced access to city facilities, and paused city programming while working to control our county caseload. Since the start of the pandemic, 623 Chatham County residents have died of COVID-19, including team members Howard Robinson Jr. in September and Lindsay Bostic just this week. Harold Robinson served as a technician with the City of Savannah Building Maintenance Department for 22 years and was a Savannah native who graduated from Beach High School in 1987. Mr. Robinson was also a U.S. Army veteran serving in Desert Storm and the National Guard Reserve. Lindsay Bostic served as a phenomenal maintenance worker at Parking Services for 9 years. He was only 58 years old. Please join me by honoring them and those across our community, our friends, our neighbors, people we loved, and people we've lost from this virus with a moment of silence. Thank you. Thankfully, our county is now more than 50% vaccinated, leading the way in the state to hopefully stop these now preventable deaths. The city encouraged our employees to get vaccinated by first offering incentive leave and then partnering with other public employers in Chatham County to offer fully vaccinated employees $500. At this point, 1,423 of our 2,150 city employees, or a little bit more than 66% of our employees, are now fully vaccinated. Our COVID metrics are currently trending downward. As a result, we've been able to ease some restrictions, resume some city programs, and event permitting. Next week, we will host the city's first major public event since January 2020's Martin Luther King Jr. Parade, as we welcome the Rock and Roll Marathon with additional COVID safety protocols in place. I cannot thank our local public health and medical professionals, especially my medical advisory team, enough for their tireless work to keep our community safe and informed. But in spite of the ongoing pandemic, a lot has happened in our city. One of our major achievements was the City Council's unanimous hiring of Jay Melder as Savannah City Manager, our first permanent city manager since 2019. Jay Melder joined Team Savannah in September, and believe me, he's hit the ground running, getting to know our staff, operations, and community. We know that he has the knowledge and the skills we need to take the big, bold, courageous actions to make Savannah even a better place. I would also like to recognize and publicly appreciate Michael Brown and Heath Lloyd for serving in the interim city manager chair during our transitional periods. Despite the 2020 COVID pandemic and nationwide recession, Chatham County has had an estimated $7.4 billion in taxable retail sales in 2020. The Parker College of Business at Georgia Southern University estimates that Savannah's economic growth this year will be about 4%. The Georgia Ports Authority continues to break records, moving 5.3 million 20-foot equivalent container units in fiscal year 2021. That's a 20% increase in cargo volumes in a single year. Gulfstream debuted 2 new business jets this year and announced thousands of additional jobs needed to manufacture them. The city organization also stepped up to help smaller businesses thrive. In response to the pandemic, our city's economic development staff contacted over 3,000 small local businesses to share recovery resources and to provide support. We also watched and stewarded public funds very carefully. The city's finances and reserves remain healthy and stable, so we expect to fund all current obligations fully. The council insisted on maintaining all services throughout the pandemic, and as a result did not reduce any services or lay off any employees. We continue to monitor the economy closely, and we will take a multi-year planning approach to our 2022 budget and beyond. We will have our annual budget retreat next month to take a deep dive into what our financial plan looks like. This summer, the City Council voted to maintain the current millage rate, and the city used this as our opportunity to deliver on our promised pay raises for the awesome members of Team Savannah who have worked and performed admirably during the COVID crisis. All eligible city employees received a 3% raise retroactive to July 4th, 2021. This move amended the city's 2021 operating budget and cost an additional $3.5 million. In my opinion, this pay increase was well-deserved, long overdue, and money well spent. And while we still have some significant financial gaps to close, we believe that the American Rescue Plan funds should allow us to do just that. The City of Savannah will receive a total of $55 million from the federal government in accordance with the American Rescue Plan Act. Savannah received half of these funds, about $27.8 million in May, and we will receive the remaining half in May 2020. I will champion using these funds to help us make significant progress toward a $15 minimum wage for our City of Savannah employees, for providing funding for nonprofit agencies to help local small businesses that have not received assistance from other sources, and partner with other government agencies to expand broadband access. We can do this. Municipal development has been full steam ahead in 2021. We moved major capital projects forward this year despite added challenges due to the pandemic. Work continues on phase 1 of the Broughton Streetscapes project, with the block between Barnard and Whitaker Streets currently under construction. Admittedly, this construction is awkward, and it is admittedly sometimes disruptive, but it is necessary to achieve the desired result of a beautiful streetscape above ground and an efficient, effective infrastructure underground. So please, work with us. Material delays caused by the pandemic and replacing outdated underground utility infrastructure did cause some initial interruptions to construction, but we are now moving through the timeline as promised and as expected. We celebrated the completion of the first blocks and encouraged our community to support local businesses with our Explore Broughton Community Day in June. Savannahans enjoy free live music, games, workout classes, and more, showing the possibilities for future community events in our city's historic shopping district. We also made considerable investments in improving recreation opportunities, largely thanks to SPLOST funds. These include, and we've talked about some of these, Holly Heights Park in District 3, Harmon Creek Park in District 4, Summerside Park in District 5, Mohawk Lake Park in District 6, and the Police Memorial Trail, which you saw featured in the video at the beginning of my address. Community centers provide a place for our residents, especially our youth and seniors, to come together. Our council has prioritized renovating these spaces to provide additional programming. The Delaware Center, which you saw featured in the video, the Grant Center, and the Hudson Hill Community Center are three spaces in which we're allocating considerable dollars to give residents in these communities equitable and additional opportunities to engage with the city and, more importantly, with each other. In September, the city of Savannah opened a new state-of-the-art facility on Interchange Drive that will house more than a dozen city departments. The council voted to honor Savannah's first African-American mayor by naming the new building the Floyd Adams Jr. City Services Complex. Mayor Adams was affectionately known as the People's Mayor, and this year we celebrate 25 years since he made history as Savannah's first black mayor. I'm honored to stand on his shoulders and recognize his contributions to our community in this way, and we hope the hundreds of members of Team Savannah working in the building bearing his name do the same. In December, the city plans to celebrate the new building and its namesake with a dedication ceremony and celebration. Construction of the Floyd Adams Jr. City Services Complex was paid for by using SPLOST funds, water and sewer funds, and the general fund. The total project cost, including design, construction, and other miscellaneous city expenses, was about $43.3 million. The complex spans 38 acres and has 11 buildings. This central location gives departments and staff greater opportunities to coordinate and collaborate, ultimately providing more efficient services to residents. It's also a part of our strategic plan to move city staff out of leased buildings into buildings we own to reduce ongoing operational costs. Construction of Savannah's new arena, the largest capital project in city's history, remains on time and on budget for an opening early next year. We have achieved some major milestones this year as the project rapidly nears completion. In January, the ECHL announced its expansion to the city and the addition of Savannah's pro hockey team as a permanent resident in the new arena. Today, we reveal the name of the 2022-2023 ECL champions, the Savannah Ghost Pirates, and we better win. The ECHL season runs from October through April, with playoffs occurring through early June. And I look forward to attending with you some of the 36 regular season home games starting next October. We also celebrated the end of virtual construction with the topping out ceremony in April, and the building was totally enclosed shortly thereafter. In July, we were excited to announce InMarket as the naming rights sponsor and officially welcome the InMarket Arena to our city. The first few concerts and events are booked for early 2022, and tickets are now on sale. Go ahead and get your tickets. While the arena will modernize the area, we are committed to preserving the culture and the character of West Savannah. This year, the City of Savannah nominated Savannah's Springfield Terrace School and the Savannah Waterworks Pump House to the National Register of Historic Places. With approval from the Georgia Board of Review, they now move through the federal approval process to get on the register. As you know, we have been talking about the development of the fairgrounds property in the 5th District for years, and we are finally close to a recommendation that council can consider moving forward. The development groups presented their plans to the community and the council in July, and city staff then analyzed the proposal's technical, engineering, and financial aspects. Council members also have the opportunity to submit specific questions to the developers about their plans. Those questions and those answers are available on the homepage of savannahga.gov. That's savannahga.gov. City Manager Jay Melder gave the council an update on the project on October the 14th, and we will consider approving his recommendation at our council meeting tomorrow night. Last year, the City Council unanimously passed a 100% renewable energy resolution focused on an equitable transition to renewable energy that promotes community health, our coastal environment, and our local economy. The resolution goals are ambitious, they're big. They state that all energy consumed within the City of Savannah limits will be from clean, renewable energy sources by 2035. In addition, all other energy forms consumed within the incorporated City of Savannah will be from clean and renewable energy sources by 2050. In May, our council took a major step toward this goal by passing a resolution to protect Savannah's nature, waterways, and neighborhood streets by managing single-use packaging and products. Through this resolution, the city organization is committed to phasing out buying single-use plastics and expanded polystyrene foam and transitioning to more sustainable packaging and products in the next year. The city is also working to engage and recognize businesses and organizations that commit to reducing their plastic use and help small, local, and minority-owned businesses interested in moving away from single-use plastics to make that switch. In July, we approved adjusting Savannah's to-go cup ordinance to allow paper, plastic, and aluminum cups to be used in the city's to-go cup zone. This adjustment included a 60-day aluminum cup pilot program. The city provided aluminum cups to program participants at a discounted rate with the goal of inspiring other businesses and consumers to move away from single plastic to-go cups. The city is currently reviewing consumer and partnering businesses' feedback, and we're working on the next step for aluminum cups. Real good. Earlier this month, Secretary of Energy Jennifer Granholm and Senator John Ossoff visited Savannah to talk about solar energy and to tour Savannah communities. I was honored to participate in a roundtable discussion with local and national energy leaders before traveling to tour the Sea Point development to see their solar capabilities and the Hudson Hill community, to not only hear from environmental justice pioneer Dr. Mildred McLean, but to also stress the importance and the necessity of sustainable energy being affordable, equitable, and widely available. This year, the city also supported numerous job training and placement opportunities to help our residents land and keep good-paying, stable employment. The city's Economic Development Department continued to provide free online business education classes to our community throughout the pandemic to help build and support local entrepreneurs and businesses. So far this year, the Savannah Entrepreneurial Center has provided 166 courses to more than 1,260 existing and potential entrepreneurs, covering topics such as business planning, marketing, legal structure, and much, much more. As a part of the Savannah First initiative, the Economic Development Department relaunched its local certification program for minority-owned and women-owned businesses, also called MWBEs. Since its launch in June of 2020, the program has certified 26 MWBEs, preparing them for contracts on city projects. The certification process takes 3 to 6 months for each business, so this is a major feat in just over 1 year. The department's remote office at the in-market arena and partnership with WorkSource Coastal help continue the city's commitment to hiring residents to help build the in-market arena. We continue to host job fairs at the Savannah Civic Center to support local participation in the construction and long-term operations of the in-market arena. In fact, WorkSource Coastal, AECOM, Hunt, and the Oakview Group are hosting a job fair this Saturday, October the 30th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Savannah Civic Center. So if you want a job, this is your opportunity. The Construction Education Foundation of Georgia expanded its Construction Ready program into the Savannah region in this spring. This free 20-day construction education program includes training, credentialing, and job placement. 97% of program graduates receive job placement at the end of the training, and starting salaries average between $12 and $15 per hour. 70% of the participants are employed with the same company after only 1 year. 10 graduates graduated from Savannah's first class and were placed into new jobs in the construction industry. The 2020 census results were released in August, and they were in line with what we expected. We believed that the pandemic would lead to some undercounting in some areas of our community, and we expected that Chatham County's population would grow. And we were right. It did by 11.4% for a total population of 295,291, and as expected, our community grew more racially diverse. Chatham County still represents 73% of the Tri-Counties area's population. The city of Savannah still maintains more than 50% of Chatham's total population, albeit by a very, very slim margin. Our city has also become more diverse. Savannah saw a decrease in black residents, dropping from 55.4% to 49.1%, a loss of almost 3,000 residents. Our white resident population dropped from 38.3% to 37.9%. Our Hispanic and Latino resident population increased from 4.7% to 6.6%, increasing by more than 3,397 residents. Our Asian resident population increased from 2% to 3.8%, an increase of almost 3,000 residents. And we believe that there are many reasons for these population shifts consistent with national trends as suburbia becomes more attractive to urban dwellers. Locally, we know that housing affordability remains a challenge for many Savannians. Our administration has proactively attempted to tackle these issues through the Housing Savannah Task Force, which presented Savannah's first ever affordable housing plan in July. This plan aims to make quality housing more affordable, available, and accessible for Savannians by developing a comprehensive plan that identifies the public, private, and philanthropic resources and systems necessary to improve, construct, and retain at least 15,000 dwellings in good condition that are affordable and available for occupancy by Savannians earning up to 80% of the area's median income, regardless of the household size or life circumstance, by 2032, and to sustain that 2032 rate of activity each year after that. The City Council adopted that plan by a 6-3 margin this month, and I hope to launch a non-governmental organization soon to administer it. I am so grateful to Task Force co-chairs Brendan Grant, President and CEO of the United Way of the Coastal Empire, and Israel Small, retired Assistant City Manager, for leading this effort, and for the more than 30 members of our community who dedicated their time and energy to craft this plan. We know that task forces work. We also made major strides to improve equity in our community through the Racial Equity and Leadership, or REAL Savannah Task Force. The report of REAL's findings, Seeing Savannah Through a Racial Equity Lens, was designed to encourage me, the council, and the Savannah-Chatham County citizenry to support action to address the serious levels of racial inequities in our community. REAL studied 6 issue areas that determine the quality of life in every community, including criminal justice, economic empowerment and wealth development, education, environmental justice, health, and housing. The efficient and effective functioning of these social institutions determine the quality of life in our community. I sincerely thank Dr. Otis Johnson, our city's 64th mayor and chair of the REAL Savannah Task Force, for his work in leading this effort, and the 45 community members and members of Team Savannah who dedicated their time and expertise to lay the groundwork for needed change in our community. You can check out the committee's full report online at savannahga.gov/real, savannahga.gov/real, or check out our City Council workshop tomorrow. They will be presenting their report to City Council. While education, literacy specifically were a focus of REAL Savannah's work, I believe that this priority deserves its own attention to truly push our community forward. Earlier this month, I introduced the Read Savannah Task Force, dedicated to improving literacy for all City of Savannah residents. We want to make Savannah's children and adults ready for post-secondary education, careers, and civic life by the time they graduate from high school or attain their GED. When you talk about poverty reduction and economic vitality, you're also talking about literacy. And when you're talking about crime reduction, you're also talking about literacy. And when you're talking about home ownership and living your best life, you are talking about literacy. Read Savannah Chair Dr. Zelonia Williams and the task force compiled a directory to help Savannahans of different reading abilities access literacy resources throughout our city. The list and contact information for task force members is available at savannahga.gov/read Savannah, READ Savannah. Another way we are working to make our city more equitable for all is through our Savannahability Task Force. This group is dedicated to making the city of Savannah more inclusive for residents of all abilities and for ensuring that everyone has an equal access to opportunity. We are saying in a very real way that Savannah is willing to listen. And we're going to listen, and we're going to do what we can to improve the experience of people with different abilities in Savannah. Savannahability Chair Patty Lyons broke the group up into subcommittees to study and suggest solutions for specific issues such as transportation, mobility, housing, and employment. The Proud Savannah Task Force, led by Pastor Candace Hartnett, also made meaningful strides in supporting our city's LGBTQ+ citizens. The City of Savannah and Proud Savannah recognized Transgender Awareness Week and Transgender Day of Remembrance for the first time in Savannah's history last year. I joined Proud Savannah for a vigil in the Savannah City Hall Rotunda, and the Proud Savannah, the Human Rights Campaign, and the Tybee Island Equality Fest will host a virtual panel discussion for this year's observance. The city of Savannah also nearly doubled its Human Rights Campaign Municipal Equity Index, or MEI, in the last year from 40 points to 78 points, thanks to the work of Proud Savannah. I am proud of Proud Savannah. The MEI examines how inclusive municipal laws, policies, and services are of LGBTQ plus people who live and work there. Cities are rated based on non-discrimination laws, the municipality as an employer, municipal services, law enforcement, and the city's leadership public position on equality. The City of Savannah's Citizens Accountability and Review of Emergency Services CARES Task Force hosted interactive meetings with residents early this year to gather comments, concerns, and feedback on contact and interactions between them and the Savannah Police Department. These help to inform the task force's final report, which will soon be submitted to the city manager and the police chief. Big thanks to Chair Diane Morrell McLeod and all Savannah Cares members for their dedicated work to have these courageous conversations needed to make meaningful change in our community. In May, I announced a community initiative asking moms to take 10 actions to reduce gun violence in Savannah over the following 100 days. In June, we added mission-minded men to help bolster this initiative. So while the 100 days are over, we still need accountability in this community. We need leaders in our kids' lives to step up to the plate and get involved. We are in this together, and we understand the importance of providing positive outlets and enrichment programs to help curb violent crime, to give our young people a safe and fun environment to grow. But it also comes down to a decision, and we have to get in between that decision and that action to use gun violence. But this year, the Savannah Police Department and the City of Savannah was excited to announce the return of the Police Athletic and Activities League, or PAL. PAL is an excellent mentorship opportunity that helps build trust and positive relationships between young people in our community and our police department. We also encourage anyone interested in creating a lasting impact on a child's life. Don't sit on the sidelines and complain. Get in the game and volunteer with the PAL program. The effects of mentorship are both beneficial for youth in the short and in the long term. Research shows that structured out-of-school time activities and mentorship can help increase social emotional skills, develop a positive classroom behavior, increase school attendance, and even improve high school graduation rates. The department is now accepting applications for the PAL basketball team, which starts practices in early 2022. They are also looking for volunteer coaches, so I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna have to show these young boys how to do a little something. Watch. But you can find applications and additional information on the Savannah's Police Department's website, savannahpd.org, in the outreach section, savannahpd.org outreach. Applications are also available at the Tompkins Community Center, WW Law Community Center, West Broad Street YMCA, John Delaware Community Center, Windsor Forest Community Center, Park on Pennsylvania Avenue, and of course the Grant Center. Thank you to our police department, our Recreation and Leisure Services Department, and the Savannah Chatham Public School System for their partnership in this initiative. SPD is also making strides to implement the Violence Interrupter Program, which is supported by Cure Violence Global in Savannah early next year. The program's mission is to deploy community leaders into areas struggling with gun violence to address root causes. SPD expects to have the violence interrupters in place during the first quarter of 2022. The department's behavioral health unit added new technology to detain individuals in a safe, non-lethal manner. The Bowler Wrap 100 is a remote restraint tool that allows officers to take someone into custody without causing pain or serious injury, ideal for tense situations where other means of detainment aren't necessary. It's just one way the unit is focusing on innovative strategies to put people first, especially those in our community who need help connecting with mental health and substance abuse resources. The Savannah Fire Department achieved major milestones over the last year as well, while adjusting as needed to fight this pandemic. With their headquarters utilized as a vaccination clinic, 14 Savannah Fire personnel helped to administer 10,000 COVID vaccinations to our residents. Savannah Fire developed a rigorous virtual public education program that reached more than 10,000 people in Savannah and throughout Georgia. In 2020, the department had to get creative to conduct a COVID-safe fire academy class, and 18 recruits successfully graduated. And of course, this training came in handy as the pandemic continued into 2021. This year, the department expanded the fire academy class to an unprecedented level of training while following COVID guidelines and protocols. We had 22 recruits graduating with firefighter 1 and 2, EMS basic, hazmat operations, and technician level training and certifications, the highest in the department's history. The department also engaged in long-term planning and training to ensure the Savannahans continue to receive world-class service. They also expanded emergency medical service to include critical call response, providing enhanced services and faster response time for critical medical and trauma needs. And this expansion is expected to increase Savannah Fire's call load by 3,500 calls for services annually. In addition to keeping you safe, the department is committed to protecting its own. And a more than $230,000 grant will allow Savannah Fire to enhance annual physicals for fire personnel and add potentially life-saving cancer screenings for early cancer detection. We also, as you know, opened Fire Station 14 in the Highlands to ensure that our Highlands neighbors in West Chatham County are receiving the services they need and deserve. And it gave them a state-of-the-art facility to live and work in instead of those nasty trailers that were supposed to be temporary. And finally, I'm proud to again give big ups to the Savannah Fire Department that was reaccredited through the Center for Public Safety Excellence and Commission for Fire International Accreditation. We are an ISO Class 1 city, and combined with that accreditation, it makes the Savannah Fire Department one of the top departments in the country, and we've always known that. Now, while we've enjoyed great successes and we've made significant forward progress, we still face significant challenges. From January 2020 to mid-October 2020, we had 241 non-domestic aggravated assaults with guns. So far this year, that number is down. From 2021, January through October 16th of this year, we've had 214. So while the number is down, we're not celebrating because that is still entirely too high. Homicides are up by 1 during that same time period this year. Our SPD homicide unit continues to work diligently to make arrests and close cases. These men and women are awesome. They are superheroes. They have a rate of 89% clearance, while the national average is just 60%. So 9 times out of 10, if you commit a homicide in our community, we're going to catch you. But that still means we need to stop the homicides. Overall, year to date, violent crime is down 6%. Those are the facts. But the difference here is that people have to be safe, and we believe you are, but we have to work to make people feel safe. And so we are determined not to let crime, particularly violent crime, be the narrative set for our community. Instead, we must be out and about and purposely engaging our young and not so young people, bridging gaps and connecting people to resources. Also, residential recycling pickup has also been a challenge this year. And I can understand how frustrating it can be when you anticipate specific services at specific times and we're not able to pick up your recycling as we promised. And trust is earned through honesty, so we have to be honest about recycling collection. We have not done a good job. Now, to be honest, a variety of factors directly and indirectly related to the COVID-19 pandemic has led our team to be unable to meet the promised recycling pickup days throughout the city. But believe me, we are working to address those issues and achieve on-time service delivery for all of our customers. I am thankful to our sanitation employees who are working tirelessly through the pandemic to make collections each week, and we are committed to providing quality, reliable services to you. We are also aware of residents' concerns as it relates to high water bills, and we are committed to finding solutions. We are working to hire additional meter readers to prevent longer billing cycles. The more days in the billing cycles, the higher the bill per payment period, and the more staff will help us check water meters faster. Our Utility Services Department offers bill payment plans. If you need to set one up or you have any questions, just call them during business hours. Also, straight up, litter is a problem in our city. Our city is too beautiful to be so littered. We must change behavior, and we must step up enforcement. And I know it's 8 o'clock. I got 10 minutes to the game. I'm getting there as I close. Our Highlands neighbors are still dealing with unacceptable traffic levels lately, mainly due to the state opening of the Effingham bypass that pushes more traffic onto Highlands Boulevard. We estimate that it'll take approximately $31 million to widen Highlands Boulevard from State Route 30 to the Savannah-Pooler line. We believe that we have some opportunities to secure the money to get this necessary project completed soon. So, as you've heard, we have a whole lot of stuff to do, and we're making forward progress despite the pandemic to get it done. Your council is committed to finding additional streams of revenue to lessen the tax burden on our citizens. To that end, the city will be aggressively imploring our local Chatham County legislative delegation to support local legislation to move the Savannah Hotel Motel tax authorization from one state code to another. This will allow the council to increase the hotel motel tax, as 81% of 276 communities in our state have already done. With a record number of visitors coming to our cities and with our hotels being full and enjoying some of their best days ever, I think it's only fair for our visitors to step up and help us fund the things that make our city better for people who live here every single day. Things like the Tide to Trail Urban Trail Network, which will bring better connectivity to Savannah with 30 miles of protected trails, a waterworks market to improve fresh food accessibility on the west side, increase access to our coastal waterways on the south side, and the redevelopment of Savannah's beautiful riverfront. Our hotel partners have overwhelmingly supported this before, and I want them to support it again. And I'm counting on them to do the right thing and let us get this done in January. If the legislative delegations of Atlanta, Columbus, Macon, Rome, and Albany can do it, I am not sure why the Savannah Chatham County legislative delegation cannot get it done. Let's get it done, and let's get it done quickly. We're also committed to instituting an impact fee structure to shift the cost of new growth from current residents and businesses. Impact fees will require new developers to pay their fair share of the cost of public facilities that we will need to add to such growth. We are also having courageous conversation with our community partners who currently don't pay property taxes to share in the continued vitality of our city by making payments in lieu of taxes. Stay tuned about the outcome of those discussions. We are also working with our public school system to develop a memorandum of agreement to allow the city of Savannah to access and utilize schools to help us deliver needed services to our shared citizens. And I thank our school system partners for sharing our belief that school buildings are community centers and that we are all in this together. And I encourage everyone to go ahead and support the East Block's vote on Tuesday. Your council is also examining the institution of term limits and staggered terms for each member of Savannah City Council going forward. And we hope to have some recommendations to consider before the end of the year. We will also continue our march toward inclusion with the announcement of our Asian American Pacific Islander Task Force. We will also explore the possibilities of diversifying our community with a soon-to-come tech task force. Tech is the way to go, and we want to go there. And finally, we will amp up our efforts to protect the most vulnerable in our community by creating more opportunities to house, serve, and assist the transitional and chronic homeless in our community, and to protect those trafficked from and through our city. So I guess I said all of that to say the Savannah is moving forward together. You have a committed council that is dedicated to serving you, even if we don't always agree on the best way to do that. But we are working to become the beloved community that I know we can be. And we will continue on focusing on being an equitable, inclusive, and just city government. It has been the pleasure of my life serving as your mayor during this time. And I just thank you so much for your love. I thank you for your support. I thank you for engaging me. I thank you for praying for me. I thank you for loving your city enough to pray for it. Savannah is a wonderful city, not a perfect city, because we're not perfect people, but we're doing the absolute best we can. And in spite of all of this, we are still Savannah strong. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. As always, may God bless you, and may God continue to bless the city of Savannah. Go Braves. You got 4 minutes. Thank you so much.